Hey, what's up everybody? ESAM here bringing you another video. This one going to be my opinion of the PGR Top 50 that was released earlier today. Yes, this is the official PGR. It is just my opinion of the players and everything like that and where I expected them to be or anything like that. So again, this is the official PGR, but do not forget to go check out that video if you want like the prettier version down below because it is a really good video. I love their format that they're doing it today. But anyway, let us just get into it. So number 50 is going to be AC, the Meta Knight main from SoCal. So AC dropped a little bit, going from 45 to 50 on this PGR, but again, with how many top, like super good players and how many ascensions of players we've had this season, I think this is pretty much going to be equal. AC, obviously, an incredibly potent threat. His best win this season is Ken. He has taken sets off of, you know, all the talented people in SoCal, albeit some of them at locals, but either way, he is still a very, very scary player. His patience is incredible. His conversions with Meta Knight are actually fantastic. He obviously has a secondary Falco that he pulls out sometimes, where we had that almost win on Abadongo at Civil War, but that was obviously last season. But either way, his Falco's seeing a little bit less play, but the Meta Knight has really shined. But similar to his SoCal brethren Eon, who was in the Area 51, he doesn't really travel that much, so it's mostly going to be the SoCal tournaments, and while he's doing relatively well and occasionally causing some upsets, he's still not getting 13th or 9th or even top 8 at the bigger tournaments, like at the S tiers. And when he did travel, he randomly would go to like Texas for like a tournament that was maybe C tier or probably even lower, because I know he did travel a few times, but not to relevant tournaments, and so his results were very limited, especially considering as you get higher, you have people with, you know, 10, 12 tournaments past them. So that's a very, very big deal. But either way, AC honestly has proven that he's just consistent, so he kind of shut up the naysayers, and I was one of them last season where I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't really think AC's like that good to be on PGR, but he proved it again. Hey, this is my second season on here, and yeah, I went down. But either way, given again how good all the players are on this PGR, this is an incredible feat to stay on for 2 seasons in a row. Honestly, very, very impressed with his play when I watch him nowadays. And next up at 49, we are going to have Zenu, another SoCal player, but this one obviously maining Mario. So Zenu is the Mario that has always had the more optimal combos compared to the top Mario brethrens of Ally and Anti. He gets a hit on you and he kills you. He has had so many 0 deaths, he's had so many Twitch clips, he's had so many JV3s, like I'm sure like the most famous thing that's probably going to be what I put on the screen at this point was the JV3 on Hoppy. It was so impressive. He's so good at conversions. He had an incredible showing at GTX where I think he got 9th or like 13th, either way, like pretty impressive, beating several top players. I don't know all of his wins 100%, but either way, he's always someone that I have feared because obviously I don't like Mario, and even though I beat him with Samus, it was still a scary set, and he always just has really close sets with top players. Yes, he sometimes gets boxed out by like the top 5 or top 7. Like I know he did struggle very hard versus DeBuzz, for example, at GTX, and that was who he lost to in losers, but losing to, oh no, you're losing to DeBuzz, that's so bad, right? Like, he's an amazing player. You know, he has to slightly improve in his mind games in neutral because he is still, you know, more so like a grappler, where like I'm getting my hit and I'm doing as much as I can, but you're gonna keep me out for a long time, because he doesn't have the mind games and the reads and like the conditioning that the 2 top Marios had. So if he works on that, honestly, I could easily see Zenu being a top 30, top 25 player. And keeping the SoCal train running, we are going to have K9 on, or K9 as Bruce, I guess is his official tag. So K9 didn't make the PGR last season, but he's always been someone that has been the forefront of a lot of people's minds. Obviously, previously because of all of his like pop-offs and all of his anger and rage stuff, but now he's just known as one of the most solid players in SoCal. I mean, he has really good results, consistent results, has a lot of good wins. I mean, I think the most notable one that I remember is Shuton, although I'm sure he's beat SoCal players at locals. I mean, he does, because he wins enough MSMs, right? He goes to like every tournament he can. He has traveled several times, and he's done relatively well at all of them. He is going to like ascend because obviously he has the experience, he has the combos, he has like the lack of butterfingers down, but sometimes he just gets in his own head during a match and will like force and brute force his way into things. But as Sheik and Diddy Kong, you can't really brute force your way. You have to play patient, you have to play steady. So honestly, K9, a very, very impressive player. I'm very happy he's on the PGR this year. One of my favorite players to watch, to be honest. And so I'm really happy he's on, and you know, he's definitely someone that has more drive than almost any other player. You know, he will be the king of Smash is his catchphrase, and honestly, I could definitely see it. He's got to keep up the good work and get over the few mental hurdles he has, and he can easily do it. Finally, breaking away from SoCal, we have the Fox main from New England, Light. So a lot of people saw Light for the first time really at Shine 2017, where he got 9th, beating Void and beating a few other players. I do not remember at the top of my head who they were, but most notably recently he was at Smash 4 Bootcamp, where he beat so many people. I think he beat beat Tweak, he beat Cosmos, he beat Mr. R, and I think that was put him to get 5th or something like that. He did so well at that, but obviously none of those wins counted because Smash Bros. Bootcamp was not part of the PGRv4, so he's one of the players with the highest X factor because everyone knows he's insane. No, I think he's a top 25 player in my opinion. Like he's crazy. His pressure is so much different than the other Foxes. His combos are so different than the other Foxes. He will put you into resets and just over and over again and continually pressure you and scare you. However, if he meets those players that are the brick walls, he does struggle. You know, he does struggle versus the people he can't get in versus because he will continually, as I said about K9, try to brute force his way in, but Fox is a little bit faster, and so he's able to kind of mix you up a little bit more and can do things like full hop downer that can kind of mitigate the pressure. But like Light, oh my god, he's so good. He's one of the most fun players in the entire world to play against in my opinion, just because he's so fast and he's so aggressive and he's so fun, and I love fighting him personally because we just like go back and forth and we just like kill each other, one and then the other and then the other and then the other, and it's super fun. Has a decent amount of wins under his belt, is currently solidly the 2nd best player in New England under Mars, and he's so good. I love watching him, I love playing him. Everything about his style, his persona, everything is just fantastic. He will go up on the next PGR unless like something drastic happens because and to stay within the Northeast, we have Vinny, the Sheik main from New York. So he didn't honestly go to that much, but the few events he did go to, he did really well at. He got 9th at DreamHack Atlanta. He beat Leo there, and that's a huge win, obviously, because this isn't even a spoiler, he's going to be top 10, right? Very solid wins, very consistent placements in the places he went to, but unfortunately, he did not go too much, so I feel like he's one of the players similar to AC, similar to Eon, as I mentioned in Area 51, that if he went to more, he would have been able to accrue more top wins because Vinny is an amazing player. Obviously, was top, I think, 20 or 25 on the first PGR, dropped off a little bit, and now he's like in the 40s to 50s. Still obviously impressive because, as I mentioned, like the more and more we go into it, you're gonna see like, wow, I can't believe, like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. Like this player's here. Like there aren't really a lot of people that are out of place. So Vinny just kind of like under them because of a lack of travel, but obviously very solid Sheik. He even has the counter pick Rosa that he's used a few times. So he's an incredible player in my opinion that will probably go back up assuming he goes to more events and, gets his dedication back like he had pre-patch days. And so yeah, I think he's really solid. And our first dip into the Midwest comes with Ryuga. Hailing from Michigan, this Corrin main has, just exemplified the fact that hard work can do a lot. He did pretty well at Big House, made it into the final day. He most notably has a win on Larry Lur at one of the sagas, I don't remember what. He had an incredibly close set with Shuton, as we guys saw. But so he honestly only pretty much loses to top players because he's like, I remember seeing him lose to Shuton, he lost to Nairo, and like pretty much every single time I watch him lose, I'm like, oh well, he played a top player and he's really good, but he's not top 15, not top 10, and even then he still had that incredible, like he bodied Larry as far as I remember. So he's very potent, very different from the other Corrin main that is obviously notable, which would be Cosmos. Is very much less so pin heavy, more so like frame traps and different ways of offense, and then we'll use the pin occasionally as opposed to like using it all the time as his main neutral tool. So playing them is a very different experience. We have vastly different styles, and honestly they're both a pleasure to watch. But Ryuga, for some reason, when I watch him, always has like a special place in my heart. Like it makes sense what he's doing to me personally as like ESAM. So I don't know, I love watching him play. I'm so glad he made it on the list, even though again he didn't go to like a crap ton of events, but went to got enough big wins that he was able to just eke his way on in the 41 through 50, and I'm very proud of him for that. So we just had someone from the first team in the finals of the Big House 6 crew battle, and now we have one from the other one as we go into Kamame, the Mega Man Sheik main. So Kamame obviously struggled at the beginning of the season because he kind of lost, and like the end of last season as well, he kind of like lost his mojo because the Mega Man wasn't working so well. He was kind of transferring to play Sheik a little bit more, but recently this season in Japan, his results with Mega Man have gone back up, not quite to what they were, but enough that he's getting certain wins, solid enough wins, and then when he came to America, he was still doing pretty decent, not necessarily top 8ing in America, but getting like 13, 17 type of thing, which is strong enough, getting 1 or 2, low to mid-level PGR wins on the way. So he's one of those players that obviously revolutionized the way Mega Man was played because he was the first one to utilize the footstool locks, and his zoning is very interesting. His edge trapping is, in my opinion, the best of all the Mega Man's like free, but he did run into some hard matchups, but his Sheik is now precise enough and accurate enough and just good. Like he just plays Sheik for a long enough time that it is a very relevant secondary that he can pull out at any time with bad matchups, and Mega Man has a few because obviously Mega Man is like a mid-tier character. So either way, Kamame honestly has, at some point, sometimes when you have like a character crisis, you have to like deal with it for those first few months where you're not going to get as good results because you need to use your secondaries when you're supposed to, even if they're not up to par, and so you're going to lose even if you're doing the correct thing sometimes. But either way, Kamame definitely did that, but now he's going to be on the up and up. So I do think that he will go up in the future. Obviously one of the smartest players that Smash 4 has seen, and he's scary. He's not fun to play against at all, and obviously Mega Man can be very frustrating, and he knows that he's very good at utilizing that and abusing it, randomly going for the aggression when people are going to be running in to catch them off guard. He's just very good at switching on and off between his offense and defense, and then getting those huge punishes that pretty much only he gets with the footstool out of shield metal blade stuff. Again, Kamame, I respect him a lot, and I'm very glad he's still on the list, even though he kind of dropped off just a little bit, but he will be back in full force in the next season probably. So jumping back into Tri-State, we have a Pennsylvania representative in 6WX, obviously from Philly. So 6WX, obviously one of the most solid Sonic mains throughout the history of Smash 4, has done really well all the time. This season, again, similar to the other people that I've mentioned below, didn't go to that much, but when he did, he still did pretty decent. Other than Smashadelphia, which he kind of got botted out at the very beginning of the season, he had a very solid 9th place at SmashCon, beating myself because I hate Sonic, and, you know, accruing some other wins here and there. You know, just always, SmashCon's always an amazing tournament for him. He always does well at that tournament. But either way, very solid player. You know, isn't with Circa anymore because they parted ways, I think, mutually. So he wasn't able to go to as much, and so because he wasn't able to go to as much, he was only able to really, you know, shine at 2 or 3 events the whole season, but those events were enough to get him on the PGR. So hopefully, you know, he can start coming to more events, because I know he graduated college. I don't know how hectic his work schedule is. I don't know how often he plans to attend any events. I know he just went to one this past weekend and got, I think, 2nd, losing to Light or something like that. So an absolutely fantastic player, can go toe-to-toe with a lot of the best, but unfortunately his lack of attendance kind of hurt him, because I do think he's realistically more so like a top 35 or top 30 player, but right now I'm going to drop him into 43. At 42, we have the Redemption player, who was in Area 51 last year, but had one too many good showings to keep him off the list, and that is going to be Shoyo James, the Diddy Luigi main from Tri-State. So obviously he top 8 at SmashCon, which was one of the hardest S-tiers of the entire year, had so many good wins, including MVD and Dyer, and I think 1 or 2 others in order to get that top 8. Had a really good set with Naro as well. But either way, this player, he's so interesting. He uses so many techniques with his mains that the other people that play those skilled characters don't do. Like, he uses down air landing lag cancels to pick up banana and also be able to shield really quickly, or like do that and then throw the banana really quickly. He's catches a lot of people off guard because of his erratic movement, because I feel like even though he mains 2 characters, he doesn't have the habits of either main in theory. Like, you know, like Luigi mains like to, let's say, mash nair and then neutral get up jab, and Diddy Kong's like to like roll around and have like very standard kind of movement. But James, his movement is erratic. I feel like he breaks all the conventions of all these times that like you expecting him to do something as like a top player, because you're like, okay, well, Luigi's like to nair here, or Diddy's like to do this here, and he just doesn't do them, and he catches people off guard, and he does such strange things, especially like with Diddy Kong, for example. He does like the turnaround skid down tilt, which makes you move forward so you can convert him into forward smash without banana, and that is actually huge. He just does so many little things that can get stocks, which, you know, a 1 stock of like a random stock that happens can just be the set. And so honestly, he's a very impressive player. I'm extremely happy he made it onto this PGR. One of the more talented hidden bosses of the US, in my opinion, but now he's not a hidden boss because he's on the PGR, so congrats. And last but certainly not least, getting into 41, we are going to have Fallen. So he did drop a little bit from last season, but either way, as I mentioned with James, he is a very unconventional Rosalina player. Obviously enjoys his tethered Luma, where you shoot Luma out and you kind of have 2 different attackers. He did kind of dial that back a little bit this season, as kind of playing a more standard Rosa, but right now, as I mentioned when I was going over the tier list, the Rosa meta, or like the anti-Rosa meta, is kind of being developed really quickly, and people are really starting to understand how to fight that character, and he suffered results because of that. Like, I know I beat him, and I know other people that would struggle with him last season were able to overcome him this season. You know, he didn't have his win on 0 this season, which is one of the things that boosted him up last season. So either way, an amazing player, kind of invented a lot of techniques with, you know, just Luma being separated, or just general like little frame traps or little situations that can kind of cover every option from certain characters. He's honestly one of the better minds of Rosalina for sure. You know, able to think of so many different things as opposed to just being like, I'm going to play solid a wall, and he just kind of does intricate little things or things you're not expecting, and then they work, and it's very impressive. So again, as I mentioned earlier with Vinny, he's kind of also the byproduct of, there are so many of like the hidden bosses that everyone knew about kind of getting onto the PGR at a higher point, where so he kind of just like took the few spots lower, but that's not a reflection on him. He's still one of the most solid players in my opinion. I did not like having to face him at GTX, even though I'm very confident versus Rosalina and Luma. You know, take that as you will. Very strong player in my opinion. One of the better players from West Coast, one of the ones I would fear the most. And yeah, that is going to be about it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, social media, Panda and partner stuff is down below. Don't forget to go watch the actual Panda Global video, and then keep And then stay tuned for the other videos that I will be doing as these videos come out. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. Oh, bye-bye.